I need to tighten my watch.
Yes, you do.
Like,
Today's,
I
isn't
can't see the time.
Wait, isn't today the 24th?
It is 20.
My email lied. It told me I got the book came in on the
21st
20th.
century.
That was yesterday.
Okay, so do we have Matthew 10?
Yes.
Alright. Matthew 10, starting in verse 26. So, do not be afraid of them. What's that so all about?
Do not listen to
It means that there was something before that.
Ah, so this is he's making he's drawing a conclusion from something. So do not be afraid of them. And we saw last week, Tuesday, 2 days ago, how he came to that conclusion. So we're going to back up a couple of verses and read that. A student is not above his teacher, nor a student above his master, a servant above his master. It is enough for the student to be like his teacher, and enough for the servant to be like his master. If the head of the house has been called Beelzebub, how much more the members of his household? So, conclusion, don't be afraid of them. What? Huh? What? What?
So that instead of being afraid of them, you should respect them.
A student is not above his teacher, correct. Yep, a student does need to respect his teacher. Servant is not above his master. It's good for the student to be like the teacher. It's good for the servant to be like the master. If the head of the house is called Beelzebub, how much more the members of his household? Therefore, do not be afraid of them. Huh? Daniel.
Well, my version has at the end of the 25th verse, household will be called by even worse names. And then at section 26, it's, but don't be afraid of those who threaten you. So,
Okay, so, why does that say we shouldn't be afraid? He draws a conclusion based on that we shouldn't be afraid. Based on a student is not above his teacher, and a servant is not above his master, but it's good for the student to be like the teacher, it's good for the servant to be like the master. Household.
Do not fear your master.
you ever need authority?
Why should we not? Okay.
Because people needed Jesus for our master, Jesus. So if they needed Jesus, they're gonna hate us, and we shouldn't be afraid of that.
Bingo. So, if we are the students, who is our teacher? Okay. And if we are the servant, who is our master? Very good. This is not hard. Good job, guys. Everybody's like, duh.
Stock answers. Come on, guys.
Okay, so then if the head of the household is called Beelzebul, or Beelzebub, the bad guy, who's Beelzebub? Satan. So, if Satan is the teacher, who is his students?
The demons.
Yes. Who else are his students?
The non-believer.
There you go. Unbelievers. Ding ding ding. Very good.
No one saw that.
Okay,
I heard it.
so here's the thing, guys. Here's the thing. We got if the head of the house, okay, if this is the household and this is the head, okay, here's a household. And Satan is the head of the household. These are the people that are persecuting you. Who's the head of this household?
Jesus.
Very good. So we've got a household here. Why should we? Why? So after Matthew quotes Jesus, not quote Jesus, excuse me. After Jesus says this, Jesus comes to the conclusion based on this, don't fear. What is the reason why he would say, based on this, we should not fear? What is the comforting thing? There's something comforting here that would cause our fear to go down. Darby.
Jesus is greater than Satan.
Yes, indeed, Jesus is greater than Satan. Is that right?
Yes,
Greater
the
than-
alligator
Yeah.
is the larger number.
Alligator eats the larger.
Yeah.
Damn.
So if Satan's going after you, it means you are a believer.
Bam! And you are part of Jesus' household. This is where you belong. You belong in Jesus' household. That is the big fat comforting statement. And Jesus is greater than this household. This household eats these households. So, you know,
It's greater than, but it's eating better.
yes. So greater than equals eating.
Oh man.
I don't know. Okay. Do
Someone
we
did
understand the board?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
We understand the board. Okay, good. Thank you. Very good. All right.
If I can hear it, you hear the board.
Such a jokester. Okay. All right. So do not be afraid of them. There is nothing concealed that will not be disclosed, or hidden that will not be made known. Give me your phone.
It's awesome. That is awesome.
Okay. What Jesus is doing here is he's giving us reasons not to be afraid. Okay? There are several reasons why we shouldn't be afraid. One of these reasons, one of these reasons is we are a member of Jesus' household. And that household eats this household. And so we're on the winning team. Jesus is the head of our household. We are in the household. We get persecuted here. That is evidence that we are in this household. Therefore, we don't fear. Another reason we don't fear is what I just said. What has been concealed eventually won't be concealed. Will no longer be concealed. Why is that comforting? Why is that a reason why our fear should go down? Nothing that has been concealed will not be revealed. Everything in the end is going to be revealed. Why is that a comforting statement?
Because the ones that are on Satan's side will eventually fall? Or Satan will fall?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. My voice goes up when I'm not sure. Yeah, sure.
I like that. I like that answer.
Okay.
Thank you, Megan.
You're welcome.
Let's expound on that. Let's expound on Megan gave birth
Okay.
to an idea.
Okay.
Megan gave birth to an idea. Now let's examine the baby.
Oh my God.
Darby.
Is it that, your whole baby statement threw me
So little.
So basically, the unbelievers will see that it was truth the whole time.
Bam. So, what is concealed right now? What is concealed is who these people are. What is concealed is what this guy is doing and what he's after. What is concealed is who these people are. These people do not see that at all. They don't see it. They don't get it, and therefore they persecute. Right?
Are you sure?
So,
Are you sure?
am I sure of?
Like when you say that they don't see the Jesus, like they might know it, that's why they persecute people.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yes. Yeah, I would agree with you on that. That what they don't see, what they don't get, at a heart level is that Jesus is who he says he is. Or, at a heart level, they refuse to believe that Jesus is who he says he is. So, and that is why they persecute. Or they don't want Jesus to be. Either way, they are unbelievers and we are believers, and so they persecute. Does that clarify things?
Yep.
Okay. So they persecute because their eyes have not been opened to Jesus being Lord of their life. That's why they persecute. Now, the actions, the heart, the motives of these people are hidden. We don't see, it's not obvious. We can discern, but it's not obvious. It's concealed. The actions, the heart, the motives of these people is concealed. It's not obvious. We can discern, but it's concealed. One day, the sky will open, Jesus will come down here, and he will look for Darby. Darby will be being persecuted by people. Darby will be experiencing some level of fear, and she will be hanging on to her faith because of Matthew 10 and many other things. She'll be hanging on for dear life to her Jesus. She's a student of Jesus, and she's being persecuted. And one day, the sky is going to open, and Jesus is going to come down here, and he's going to say, "Where's Darby? Where's Darby? Where's Darby? Where's Darby? Where's Darby? There's Darby." And he is going to reveal who Darby is. No longer will he let who Darby is be concealed. And to the persecutors who are the unbelievers who are doing things to her, he will also reveal what they are. And they will see what Darby is.
And then we'll leave her alone then, hopefully.
Yes. And then Darby will grow alligator teeth and eat them. Okay. So we have Jesus giving reasons for us not to be afraid, right? Does that make sense? Does the board make sense?
Yes.
Do we understand the board? Okay. All right. Okay, let's continue reading. What I tell you in the dark, speak in the daylight. What is whispered in your ear, proclaim from the roofs. Do not be afraid of those who can kill the body, but cannot kill the soul. Rather, be afraid of the one who can destroy both body and soul in hell. Okay, why is that a comforting statement? He says, do not be afraid of those who can kill the body, but be afraid of the one who can kill both body and soul. Why is that comforting? Kill. Daniel.
Because the body, like, once your body's, like, if someone killed you and you're a believer, you're going to be with God and Jesus. And that's a joyous place. But if you just follow the crowd and stuff, and you die, and you don't believe in God, eternal life of torment.
Right. Absolutely. That is very comforting. Wow, that one was easier, huh, guys? Was that one easier? Okay. All right, let's move on a little bit. Do not be afraid of those who kill the body, cannot kill the soul, rather be afraid of them. Okay. Oh, okay. Let's expound on this. Daniel has given birth
Oh my goodness.
to an idea. And now we must examine the baby.
I'm not sure the idea of the baby is healthy.
Okay, so kill me equals so what?
Ouch.
Why do I care? Do it. Bring it on. It's only going to send me to the best place ever,
Can
so
you please just
please
leave it?
do.
Can you leave that on there for the next class to see?
Kill me so what?
It's actually gonna stay on there either way, just like the other one did.
No, I think they might get the wrong meaning from this.
Oh, they.
Alright, so Daniel has given birth to this baby. Kill me equals so what? 10-second bunny trail because it's fun. The other day, my wife was saying something. Yes, my son Nathan was giving my wife a hard time. They were just joking around. They weren't actually arguing this time. But they were joking around, and my wife said to Nathan, "I gave birth to you." And he looked at her, and then I said, "Nathan, when your mother gave birth to you, the nurses all gathered round, and they gazed in wild wonder at the joy they had found. The head nurse spoke up, said, 'Leave this one alone.' They could tell right away you were bad to the bone."
I remember that song.
And Nathan was like, he never heard that song. He's like, "What?" He's like, "Did you write that?" I was like, "Yeah." He'll hear it eventually and go, "Damn."
Dude, are you okay over there?
No, I've been sick since midterm.
Yeah, just don't cough up alarm because we don't want to pick it up.
No, thank you.
Not me.
Alright, so Daniel's given birth to this idea, and this idea is bad to the bone. So let's follow. Jesus gives birth to this idea, and then he describes the baby by saying this: "Are not 2 sparrows sold for a penny? Yet not one of them fall to the ground apart from the will of your Father." So he says, "Kill me, so what?" Then he builds a 3-part argument. Got a couple of premises and a conclusion. Are you ready? Premise 1. You are what? Yes.
Creations.
No, I don't think he necessarily says that
I just
you're
wanted
precious.
to say that. I didn't actually mean.
I know that Jesus does think that you're precious, but that's not what's being said
I'm
here in
sorry.
this. You are what, guys?
You were paid for.
Paid for? Yep, but I don't think that's what he's saying here. You are worth.
More than many sparrows.
There you go. Thank you. You are worth more than
Many sparrows.
birdies.
Bodies. You can take bodies.
Alright. Premise 1. You are worth more than many sparrows. Premise 2. When sparrows die, what? God knows. God.
Whatever the first said.
Oh, that's easy.
What?
Hey, here's a question for you. What's the answer? Whatever the verse said.
I don't know what I kind of spaced out.
That sounds just like Amy, doesn't it, guys?
Yes.
Whatever the verse said.
Yes, it sounds exactly like me.
No, I can't find the verse.
What was the question?
Okay.
What was the question, please?
Daniel, I love you today. Alright. Elena,
What was the question you asked?
okay, I want you to finish this. Okay? Jesus makes 2 premises from the statement. You are worth more than sparrows. When sparrows die, God
Knows.
Will acknowledge you.
knows, but not only does he know, but
Loves.
okay, care. I think that is implied. Yep, he cares. But not only does he care, but Daniel,
You're worth more than a flock of them.
that would be premise 1. Yes. So when sparrows die, God knows, he cares. They don't die apart from
Heaven. Follow.
Flying
From
in the air.
They don't die without falling to the ground.
Within God's will. when-
Will!
There we go.
Woo!
Found the verse.
Good job. Bingo. This is the big one, okay? That's the big one. When sparrows die, God knows, He cares, it is His will, okay? Which leads us to the conclusion that He does not say, but based on these two premises, we can come to the conclusion of what He's getting at. If we're worth more than birds, and when birds die, they don't die apart from His will, therefore... Hazel?
What?
Cecil? I don't know what she said. Daniel.
Does that mean we die according to His will?
BAM! Daniel, man. When we die, it is God's time for us.
Right?
What?
That makes sense though, because God knows all time on His own, and then He will come back, or either He will call us home, and if that means we're gonna die in a rapid way for His glory, then what'll be done, like, so what?
Yep. Bingo. Bingo. So the baby is given birth, and here's the description of the beautiful baby. When we die, God knows it. It's His will. We have a set moment when it's going to happen. He's known it for all of eternity. So there's nothing we can do about it. It is His will. So kill me. So what? Megan.
Can you explain number 2? I'm a little confused at your shortcuts with knows, cares, will with the birds. Can you
Okay.
explain that? Sorry, I'm
Yes.
trying to write notes and it's really hard.
No, you're good.
when-
You're good.
When I look up and I'm like, wait, what does that mean?
So, we are worth more than birds. And when sparrows die, God, 1, knows that they die, He cares that they die, and He wills that they die.
He wills them to die.
Yeah. They don't die apart from His will. Okay. So, when we die, it's God's time for us to die. Dan.
Then, what, like, touchy subject, what about, like, suicide?
That is touchy.
That's a very good question.
Nathan just made a bold statement. He said, that's bad for you. Suicide is bad for you.
Yes, it is.
You won't go up.
Because you're shortening your life and it's not God's will, He's not own will, so.
Alright. That's a big giant thing. It's a big giant thing. I will say a couple of things on that, and then we will move on. Amy just goes,
We might.
One, Nathan makes a good point of God's will versus our will. And this is a little bit scary. We're not going to talk massive about it. We're going to move on. Maybe, probably. We will. I'm going to move on. Anyway. So, we impose our will over God's will. This is a big, giant, fat state, big, giant discussion. So then the question arises, was it God's will? Does God know everything? Yep. Does He know the moment you're going to die? Yep. Did He know before He created the world that you would commit suicide at such and such date, such and such a time? Yep. He knew that. We have to conclude that, right? We have to conclude He knew that. 2, God also filters everything in our life, and He allows us to do whenever and whatever He doesn't allow us to do anything and everything. But He does allow. What happens? He allows. So, He allows us to impose our will and kill ourselves. Big fat discussion. That's all I'm going to say about that one. 2, if God allows this to happen, that says things, if he allows us to get to the point of suicide, that says things about our relationship with God. And this is a big giant discussion as well. Is it possible for a saved person to kill themselves?
Is it possible?
So, okay, this is a big discussion.
I'm gonna say
Big.
no.
Because even if like you have faith in God, you can just kill yourself. Because like I don't exactly know the verse, but it said like God like put in front of us life and death, and He said you choose life. So if you choose to kill yourself, you're not allowed to go to heaven, like that.
So, if we were Catholic, okay, the Catholics teach that suicide is an unpardonable sin. That if you commit suicide, you are determining your eternal destiny in hell. Do I believe that? No, I don't. Here's what suicide equals murder. Right? Everybody agree with that?
Yeah.
You are murdering. You are murdering a human being. It is murder. Suicide equals murder.
I never thought of it like that, but it makes sense, because you're murdering yourself.
Yep. Suicide equals murder. Is there grace for murder? Can a murderer be saved?
Yes.
Yes, because God saved all souls.
There you go. So murderers can have grace. Therefore heaven. Okay. So that is all we're going to say about that. Okay. Now, Amy needs to take a break. She's going to go get a massage. It's tense. This is tense. Daniel.
But that brings us to the question, like, if someone was to murder someone, is that them doing their will over God?
Yes, it is. If I were to murder you, I would be imposing my will over God's will. Yes. But, here's the thing, there's several aspects to God's will. There is his sovereign will, oh my gosh. There's his sovereign will, there's his prescribed will, there's his permissive will, okay? And maybe one or two others. Sovereign will means his will is always done. Okay? So his sovereign will, always done. Meaning, there is nothing that doesn't happen that God doesn't will. Prescribed will means that there are things that he jumps in and does. Excuse me, just kidding, not prescribed will. Prescribed will is Bible. Okay? This is what we are prescribed to do. This is his will for us. God's will for us is to love. His will for us is to experience the fruit of the Spirit, right? That's his prescribed will. Permissive will is what God allows. And then it's another P one, I think. His something, but what it equals is how he interjects into the world.
Welcome back, Amy.
So, how God interjects into the world to force certain things to happen. And that is P something. Okay, and then there's another one too. But anyways, so God's prescribed will would be don't murder. Okay, so that is his will. Don't murder. His sovereign will, or his permissive will, allows murder. Does that make sense?
How come?
How come?
Yeah, like more detail.
Okay. The reason.
Because it's confusing when it said. "Do
I
not
knew this
murder,"
was
but
gonna
it had to happen.
Okay. The reason why he allows murder is because of his sovereign will. And his sovereign will does not dictate murder, okay? So it doesn't dictate murder, but it allows it. These follow under sovereign will. So sovereign will is the umbrella under which the other wills follow. So his sovereign will is not God interjecting and forcing someone to murder. Does that make sense?
But in the Bible it said don't murder, right? That's mean like it's kind of opposite. Like
Yes. So in the Bible, you're absolutely right, Nathan. In the Bible, God prescribes don't murder. That is God's prescribed will. Then David murders, Moses murders, a million other people murder. They were not doing God's prescribed will. They were sinning. Right? But God allowed sin. Why did he allow sin? Darby. Or you can say what you're going to say. You don't have to answer that question.
Well, I think to answer your question, God gave us free will, so we would be able to love him on our own free will, because being forced to love is like a robot loving you. It doesn't make sense. And if he were to not allow murder, then he would be impeding on our will.
True. So, under God's sovereign will, he gives us free will and gives us the ability to murder. Does he want us to? No. His prescribed will is that we don't murder. So he doesn't like that we murder, but he allows sin. Sometimes God interjects into the world and someone's trying to murder someone and God stops it and doesn't. And that is another P question mark word, I think. But, so, what other follow-up questions do you have?
you get better pressure. I don't know how to say it.
Okay. So the thing that I think, you tell me if I'm understanding you correctly, is it is troublesome to hear that me murdering Daniel is God's will. Correct?
But
Yeah.
When you say that, I just remember Saul, like Paul. We're a murderer. Like we're like killing people and like skull cutting, that like straight from many.
Yeah. Elena. So yes, what I want to say is that when we say the statement that we are doing something outside of God's will, so if I murder Daniel, I am outside of God's prescribed will because I am sinning. Okay? Also, I am inside God's permissive will because He allowed it. He allowed me to murder him. If I do murder him, then I am outside His P question mark will.
Is that predestined?
Ooh. I think so. Yeah, that fits. Elena, you get a star, and it's bigger than his too. Okay, so His predestined will, where yes, that's the other one. But that's not this one though. But kind of. Anyway, yeah, predestined will. There's things that are going to happen, and there are things that are not going to happen because God predestined before the creation of the world that it wasn't going to happen, or it was going to happen. So, if I murder, I'm outside His prescribed will, I'm outside His permissive will, and if He did not interject and stop me from murdering, then I'm outside His predestined will, but always under His sovereign will. Because God's will is always done under His sovereign will, because the thing that makes it all better is that it doesn't matter how much we sin, it doesn't matter how much free will we exercise. God is so sovereign that He can make our sin glory for Him. Every bad thing He can redeem and make beautiful and wonderful and win. So, alright. Okay. Okay, so we did the thing. Okay, alright. So back to Matthew 10. Let's talk about the last one here, where he says are not two sparrows sold for a penny, yet not one of them falls to the ground apart from the will of your Father, and even the very hairs of your head are all numbered. Therefore, don't be afraid. So, the last reason we'll look at today is, therefore, don't be afraid. Okay? Therefore, don't be afraid. And what's the last one? What's the last reason why we are not supposed to be afraid? Darby.